everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cool Party Guys Review. Today we are talking about Fright Night. We saw it in 3D, so Fright Night 3D is what we're going to call it. Yeah?
Yeah. We're going to call it what it is called.
We're going to call it what it's called. Well, it could also be called Fright Night.
That's true.
It stars Colin Farrell, Anton Yelchin, who is like an up-and-coming actor. Has Toni Collette in it, a bunch of other people. One of the Doctor Who's, I believe. At some point, a Doctor Who.
A Doctor Who?
Yeah, a Doctor Who.
We don't know whom, but one of the Doctor Who's.
It's a remake of a sort of campy cult movie in the 80s.
Well, it kind of came out, and they're kind of like, it's like a B-80s horror movie, but then it got a cult following kind of immediately, but then even more so as it built. And so I think they were like, hey, this can make money. Yeah. Let's redo it.
Yeah, it's basically My Neighbor's a Vampire. It's some kid who's, you know, his life's going great. He's abandoned his nerdy past.
Yeah.
And he's now the cool kid. He wears the cool shoes. Got the cool girls. Got the douchebag friends who hate him. Blah blah blah. And his neighbor's a vampire, Colin Farrell.
It's what I think is interesting about movies like this. Like with the remake, it seems like a lot of the stuff is tired. Because you can say, oh, it's the My Neighbor's a Vampire movie, or this archetype happened, or this stereotype is, you know. Shown throughout the movie, but it's kind of funny to think that when the original came out, a lot of that was creating those now tired stereotypes that happen in all these other movies. So it's almost like to be true to its source material, which is funny to be true to an 80s movie, like how true do you have to be, but you're kind of falling back on things that are like, oh, it's this type of movie. But I think it works. I think it does what it sets out to do.
Yeah, it's definitely you know, a worthy remake of a movie. It carries on the camp, carries on the, you know, the vampire-ness with today's CGI
It
stuff.
Has vampires in it?
It has vampires in it. Check. Well, I mean, in terms of like, you know, they use the CGI that we have today to make more believable vampires. Debatable how believable they are. There's different stages of vampire. A little weird. Yeah. But initial thoughts. Hit me.
So I kind of covered up some of them with it does what it sets out to do. I think it
would just be a movie.
It is a film, and it is watchable, and it is in theaters. I think Colin Farrell is great in this.
Okay.
Not Oscar.
Great. Better than Horrible Bosses great, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I try to forget about Horrible Bosses. Okay. Ooh, I did not like that movie. I think he's really good in this movie, and he is likable as, you know, the arrogant, cocky, bad guy. And at some points, I was actually just kind of rooting for him more than Charlie, the male lead.
Anton Yelchin.
Correct. And just
Scotty from Star Trek.
Find him to be a little too. He plays his role, like, oh yeah, don't tell anyone, let me handle this, And I was kind of thought Colin Farrell was a really effective badass, and he was cool. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think Colin Farrell's job is to not say much. When he does say stuff, it's kind of awkward, and I don't know about that. But yeah, his job is to just sort of stare off into the distance, make weird, awkward, sniffing motions. But aside from that, it's, you know, it's a decent story. The acting is pretty good. There's some bit parts on his college friends that's a bit awful.
My problems in that story type of thing are what I alluded to a little bit, where it's like, this isn't a spoiler for the movie in any way, shape, or form, but there's the neighbor's a vampire, and the lead finds out, but then it's the same thing, like, he doesn't tell anyone. What? Oh, they're gonna think I'm crazy. Like, when you start collecting definitive proof, people aren't gonna think you're crazy. Then you go, look, Mom, I love you. You might think this is crazy, but don't let him into our house, here's why. Instead of just being like, just trust me, don't let him in. I don't have time to answer questions. We gotta keep this movie under 90 minutes.
I agree. There's a couple things that the movie does wrong, I guess you could say, is the, you know, the whole not going to tell them. Although they do kind of fix that pretty quickly, because then they just figure out he's a vampire very soon after that.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of sneaking around at first, but then, I mean, we established that he's a vampire, he can smell them, and it doesn't make sense.
It's like we know it as the audience, but the character in the movie doesn't know it. So it feels weird.
I feel like I know that he's sneaking around. Colin Farrell knows he's sneaking around. He doesn't know he's sneaking around.
That sequence could be a lot shorter.
There could have been a better way to create tension, like
right,
than just have it be oh, he knows, and he knows, but he doesn't know.
Right.
But overall, it's a good movie. I would say the 3D's pretty well done. I wouldn't say it makes the movie.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
There are a few shots that are the clear 3D shots, but I think you could see this not in 3D, unlike Final Destination 5, where you said
yeah.
really. I think you could see this in regular D and come away with the same impression that we had.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But if you do see it in 3D, you won't feel like you got ripped off or anything. You won't.
Right.
You won't say, "Oh, well, I didn't see anything. This isn't one of those movies." But overall, it's a pretty enjoyable movie. The performances are pretty good, and the story's interesting, and it's a campy, like, I don't think it'll be a cult classic, but it's a campy ode to a 80s movie.
It's very serviceable, especially for the middle of August, that time of year where we are, with the blockbusters dying out. I really enjoyed it. I think the Chris Angel send-up works well and makes it enjoyable. The movie is maybe still, I don't know its exact runtime, but it felt maybe a little too long
A little bit.
in places. But it's enjoyable. It's a really good movie. If you're looking for something to do this summer and you've seen everything that's out there, I would recommend seeing it. I would give it a 3.5.
A 3.5. Wow.
It's enjoyable. It's done well. It achieves what it sets out to do, which I feel like a lot of movies don't. Transformers, which we talked about, you can watch our review on that. You know, it had a very clear vision for what it was trying to be, and it missed that mark a little bit. But this movie goes in with a clear directive, hey, we're going to have some fun, we're going to have some gory action scenes, we're going to get in, get out, it's all going to be a good time. I am surprised there are no breasts.
Yeah.
Like,
they definitely just used the R for the blood.
And a little language.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So it's like a classy R.
Yeah, they definitely didn't go for the hard vampire.
Right, like titties everywhere and
you think that there might be a little bit of that.
No titties.
No titties.
No 3D titties. So where are you? Where do you fall?
I'm a little under you.
Ha ha ha.
I'll go 3.25.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie. Don't get me wrong. It's still, you won't go into the theater and think, "Oh man, this is amazing." There's still the script's a little weird. There's some iffy stuff there, and Colin Farrell's performance sort of wavers at points. But overall, it's a good vampire movie. It's a good campy movie. It's a pretty decent 3D movie, and I think the main characters are all enjoyable. You know, you care about them. You're excited.
Which is nice. I mean, that's the thing. You're not going to get ripped off by this. You're not going to go in expecting one thing and get another. And if you're going to see Fright Night or any movie along these lines, you'll like it. Unlike some of the more modern takes on old horror movies where you're like, wait, Psycho? This is literally just Psycho again, except now the guy's masturbating and it sucked. Oh, The Hills Have Eyes. This is way worse.
Yeah.
And so
this is a remake done okay.
It does make me excited for Total Recall, because I like Colin Farrell, and seeing him do roles that I like makes me excited. So that's another remake I'm excited to see.
All right, well, Colin Farrell remaking things. He's remaking himself after, Daredevil and all that.
And Horrible Bosses.
Oh, God. Well, if you enjoyed this review, this Cool Party Guys review, and you want to see some of our other reviews, make sure you watch them.
Click in the appropriate place.
If you want to see any of the Cool Party Guys sketches, they're surrounding us on this web page that we're trapped in. Unless you're on YouTube, then
you can find them.
Go look for them. If you want to leave a comment, you can do so below our faces on the space there. And stick tuned for some more reviews, and for that, we're out.
Go see Smurfs in 3D.
Don't do that.
Cool Party Guys. Cool Party Guys.